Today is Saturday, May 7th, 2011. This is part 12 in a series on gang stalking and electronic harassment here in the Bay Area. I want to talk about what I've been doing lately, continue with what I've been doing to combat the harassment and interesting thoughts I've had about it, insights. What I'm doing lately, and the reason I haven't been uploading videos like every single day is at least about what's directly happening to me is I've been doing a lot of the conference calls over on TalkShoe.com. You can go find my show if you want there. I'll post a link to it right down here in the description. The show is called Electronic Harassment / Organized Stalking. And you can, if you're a TI or if you just want to learn more about the topics, you can come over anytime, and we'll be discussing these topics. I do the show a lot. I'm gonna have to cut back because of long distance charges, but so the first thing I want to talk about, and I've been able to, a lot of my ideas, they've maybe been too crazy to talk about until I found other TIs who have the same thing happening to them, which I can do with the conference calls, because you can talk to all the other targeted individuals. So one thing I was writing about is how with the minded thing, or defrag, or whatever you want, whatever they call it, deleted. They when they do it, like for example, they might make it feel like your mind is like draining down out of your skull or something, and you can sort of, if you like tense up and like you can sort of like pull it back, and they call that holding it, like holding your mind in place. And so they, and I wasn't even going to talk about that, but another TI brought it up when I brought up minded. They brought up being able to, having to try and get your mind back into place, and I'll go find the quotes that he was talking about that in a second, because I saved the chat log because I thought it was interesting. But yeah, so there's like it's kind of like a new kind of mind control where, like, usually when you think of mind control, you think of somebody controlling like processes of the mind or controlling behavior, but I'm talking about actually being able to like control the actual, like, your consciousness itself, like that like bubble or like of energy that is like in your head, that like it feels like you're able to like move it around, and like they'll make it feel like it's like literally draining out of you. And when they do that, it feels like you're in a total trance state. Like you could be totally conscious, and then just as soon as they start doing it, just like snap, you're in like a total unconscious, like zombie vegetable state. But you're still like aware, like you can still notice in the back of your mind like what's happening. But that's one thing that I've been thinking about, and that apparently it's not just happening to me, so I'm not crazy. Now I'm just finding the quotes about it. And if they really are taking your mind out, which I don't know if they are, but if they really are, it could be a test for mind uploading or brain uploading, having to do with like mind mapping and emulating brains, which is a big aim of transhumanism. I just uploaded a video about that today from a documentary called Technocalypse about transhumanism. All right, I found it. So this is the chat log from a conference call on TalkShoe.com, where there's a lot of other TI shows and mine. I'm talking to, I'll say their name is guest. Let me just go up and find the beginning of this. Alright, so I said, I ask this a lot, but it's a constantly reoccurring theme for me. Any of you guys have your perps make you feel like your mind is being shut down and or portions of it are being removed? Then the guest, a little farther down the chat, says, yes, it is almost like a brain wipe and your brain is empty. I say, oh, I'm glad I found you. Apparently we have the same types of techniques being used on us. They say it scares me because of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Another person says that has happened to me. I tell them to send me an email. They say they're actually thinking about starting a brain gym. Another person says the brain just floods with neurotransmitters. That's why you feel that way. And then the main guest I'm talking about, they say the only way I can explain it is if they peel back layers of your brain and it is wide open. And they say I don't mean physically, I mean subliminally. And they say what I do when I feel it starting is pull back the other way. Now this is where they start talking about it. The guest says, it sounds weird, but you have to play with your brain to get it back straight. They say another example is when someone has a split hemisphere and you have to pull it back together. That is not physical, but subliminal. So they say people do bobbling to manipulate their brains from one side to the other if they have a brain injury such as TBI or PTSD. It gives them the ability to use predominantly good sides so they can function. We do it north to south. And it can also, and that's pretty much the extent of what we got into about that in that chat. But the other thing I want to talk about that is that it doesn't always happen when you are trying to move it around. It can also happen, like, for example, I don't think I covered this in an earlier video, but it can happen when if you're deleting text, if you're pressing backspace on a computer and you're watching the text get erased, it can feel like your mind is getting wiped in the same direction as the text is disappearing. And another thing is, like, if you're holding something and you're twisting it, and you think about twisting like a cigarette in your hand, it can feel like there's like a little tiny cylinder part of that bubble that is your overall current consciousness or mind. It feels like part of it is getting wound up. So yeah, there's the conscious control of your actual mind, or at least the apparent conscious control. And let's see, what else can I talk about? I guess that's good enough for now. So yeah, check out the link down below in the description if you want to check out my talk show on TalkShoe.